Dear members of the press, dear ladies and gentlemen, I'm very pleased to welcome you all today from Dubai here for this IAC 2021 announcement. And welcome you all here in the room and also to those who are remotely connected from all corners of the world. I'm Dr. Christian Feichtinger, Executive Director of the International Astronautical Federation, and I will have the pleasure to moderate this press conference. As you may know, the 71st International Astronautical Congress, originally planned to take place here in Dubai in October last year, had to be postponed to a more suitable time due to the global pandemic. The IAC 2020 then became the first cyberspace IAC held completely online and met a great success with more than 13,000 participants from all over the world. And now we are very happy to announce that we will meet in person for the 72nd International Astronautical Congress here in Dubai next October. And with no further ado, I would like to introduce to you our speakers of this press conference today. First, on the left side, the President of the International Astronautical Federation and Research Professor of Space Policy and International Affairs at the George Washington University, Professor Pascale Ehrenfreund. Professor Ehrenfreund is an astrophysicist, and the main belt asteroid 9826 Ehrenfreund is named in her honor. She is also the Chancellor and the incoming President of the International Space University, the ISU in Strasbourg. In the middle, it is our pleasure to welcome His Excellency Yousuf Hamad Alshaibani, Director General of the Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center. His Excellency Alshaibani was appointed Director General in 2013, and he is also a board member of the UAE Space Agency. Recognized as one of the founding members of the Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center, His Excellency Alshaibani has made valuable contributions towards the growth and development of the organization. And last but not least, here to my left, Mr. Salem Almarri, Deputy Director General of MBRSC and Chair of the IAC 2021 Local Organizing Committee. Salem Almarri assumed this position in 2012, and his role is centered on ensuring that the vision and the mission of MBRSC are achieved through the different technical and scientific programs being run at the center. He previously held the same position at the Emirates Institution for Advanced Science and Technology before it was integrated into the center. And now it is my great pleasure to give the word to Professor Pascale Ehrenfreund, President of the International Astronautical Federation.
So, ladies and gentlemen of the press here in this room, and of course also online, thank you very much for joining us today for the first IAC 2021 press conference. And I'm particularly delighted to officially announce that the 72nd International Astronautical Congress will take place in person here in the beautiful and dynamic city of Dubai. And from the 25th to the 29th of October 2021. So for the first time, the IAC will open its doors to the global space community in the United Arab Emirates, the first Arab country to host the IAC since its establishment in 1950. So we are very happy to work side by side with the Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center which is the IAC 2020 host organization and also member of the IAF since 2012. And it was also named and established by the Dubai government to serve as one of the main pillars to drive the establishment of the knowledge economy and sustainable development in the UAE. So before we actually jump into the Congress itself and show you actually the rich program we are putting together right now, let me first highlight what an interesting space year 2021 is. As I'm sure you already know, a great number of exciting missions have been and continue actually to be undertaken. The NASA Perseverance rover is looking for signs of past life on Mars. The United Arab Emirates HOPE orbiter is studying the atmosphere of Mars and actually capturing high resolution images. And as far as I know, will enter the science orbit very, very soon. But also our Chinese colleagues make impressive progress with their first Mars mission Tianwen-1 and their landing of the rover Surang just recently. And of course, also the first module of the Chinese space station. We have, of course, to mention the Crew Dragon 2, the first crewed mission for NASA in SpaceX in 2021, which is the third crewed launch in 12 months. And we also await the results of the recent lunar and asteroid sample return missions from China and Japan. So as you can see, there is a lot to discuss and to celebrate in Dubai in October. So with the theme, inspire, innovate, and discover for the benefit of humankind, the IAC 2021 is looking forward to make a contribution to humanity and to science by strengthening and enhancing cooperation between all countries in the space sector. Inspire, because it is our responsibility to inspire us and the youth and make sure space has a legacy. Innovate, because innovation is the cornerstone of any sustained economic growth and success. And discover, because our discoveries nourish our passion and love for space and give us strength and courage to boldly undertake new ventures. So this is why we have drafted an intense program. It is shaped around the theme I just mentioned, and we will have a very rich plenary program with the usual heads of space agency plenary, but also plenaries which are focusing on Mars missions. That's something very important right now, emerging space agencies, the next generation, small satellites, and the Expedition 6061 reunion, just to name a few. The technical program promises new exciting features and a large number of presentations thoroughly selected by the IAF International Program Committee. And the Global Networking Forum will bring together stakeholders, policymakers, and decision makers, experts, and young professionals in the global conversation about the future of space activities, without, of course, forgetting the exhibition, the press conferences, the workshops, the receptions, and a lot of events which will take place here in Dubai in October. So this Congress is a unique opportunity to contribute to breakthroughs that revolutionize the future of space and also space exploration. We are convinced that thanks to the dedicated work of all parties involved, the 72nd IAC will be of remarkable significance for the space sector. Finally, let me underline a very important point regarding the current pandemic. The IAF, together with the Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center and the city of Dubai, are fully committed to put in place solid health and security measures to ensure the safety of all delegates. We remain at your disposal to clarify any concerns in this regard. also during the press conference. The IAC 2021 is our chance to inspire the next generation and to shape the further development and expansion of the space sector's growing ecosystem. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Ehrenfreund. And it's my pleasure now to ask His Excellency to give his statement and address.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me a great pleasure to welcome you to this press conference for the 72nd International Astronautical Congress. The UAE hosting this year's edition reaffirms our commitment to support the growth and development of the space sector in the Arab world. We at MBRSC, in partnership with the International Astronautical Federation, are on track to deliver on a global event that will enhance the scientific commitment and long-term cooperation on many vital issues related to the space sector. Over the course of this press conference, you will be briefed on the details of the Congress and Dubai readiness to host this mega event. Thank you for taking your time to be here with us, and we look forward to welcoming all of you this October in Dubai. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Mr. Almarri, please.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The 72nd International Astronautical Congress is taking place in Dubai in October, and we look forward to welcoming everybody with excitement, and we're excited also to host the world's premier space event, really for the first time in 72 years in the Arab world. This Congress, we believe, will accelerate the growth of the space sector in the region. It will also act as a knowledge enrichment platform for the youth in the fields of space science and technology. The Congress is a key to fostering a UAE-based flourishing startup space ecosystem, placing an impactful footprint and establishing pivotal alliances, building bridges of knowledge with leading international space organizations and agencies for the betterment of mankind. We look forward to delivering on a global event that will enhance the scientific commitment and long-term cooperation on many vital issues related to the space sector globally. Our mutual and fundamental views are characterized by the continuation of scientific cooperation with the vision of investment in science research, technology, training, and engaging in a scientific debate and cooperation to enhance the development of best practices. They say things happen for a reason. So getting to this point from last year, when the event was supposed to take place, I can only say that we are prepared and ready as ever. In fact, most probably better prepared. As you know, the situation has drastically changed, but we use the time to learn and revisit with all aspects of the event to ensure that the Congress will run smoothly and, most importantly, safely for everybody. We have been working very closely with all relevant government authorities here in Dubai and in the UAE to ensure the safety of everyone, setting up all required protocols that will help ensure that we will able to pursue our vision to inspire, innovate, and discover for the benefit of humankind, the theme which we have adopted for this year's Congress. A few days ago, the UAE's National Crisis and Emergency Management Authority reported that more than 70% of all eligible people for the COVID-19 vaccine, which includes UAE nationals and resident expatriates, have been inoculated against the virus. That's more than 10.7 million doses of the vaccine that have been administered across the country. At the onset of the pandemic, the UAE took quick and decisive action to limit the spread of the virus, adopting far-reaching safety measures to ensure the well-being of its citizens, residents, and visitors. The event industry in Dubai has also risen to this challenge and was one of the first to host a hybrid B2B event last year that welcomed delegates from across the globe to one of the biggest technology events in the world. Learning from this experience and working with the government's health authorities have enabled us to establish safety protocols specifically for the Congress, which we will strictly adhere to and implement. As this event will be happening alongside the Dubai Expo 2020, we are confident that those attending the Congress will have plenty of opportunities to also experience what is billed as the greatest show on earth. In addition to the many leisure and social programs for which Dubai has become quite known around the world for. Hosting this event is part of a long journey that began a while ago with the launch of our first satellite, DubaiSat-1, until the very launch of the Emirates Mars mission, which sent the Hope probe to Mars earlier this year. It will also mark the second anniversary of the return of the first Emirati astronaut from the International Space Station, Hazza al-Mansouri, and it will also mark the third anniversary of the launch of KhalifaSat, which was the first fully developed Earth observation satellite here in the UAE. These milestones, we hope, will usher a new era for the region's aspirations to venture into space. At the same time, IAC 2020 will be a great opportunity for the global space community to strengthen ties, enhance cooperation, and inspire new ideas and breakthroughs that will help shape the future of space exploration for us all. Thank you for your time, and I hope to see you in Dubai soon.
Thank you very much, Mr. Almarri, and all of our speakers. And we are moving on now to the next part of the press conference. So please feel free to ask your questions and introduce yourself when you ask the question. We have microphones going around. And we will have questions from the room here and also from abroad, from remote. I see question over here from the room, please.
مساء الخير، بدي أسأل بالعربي أنا. يمامة من صحيفة الخليج. سؤالي للمهندس سالم المري، عدد الدول المشاركة بالمؤتمر وماذا يضيف هذا المؤتمر لأن كونه يعقد لأول مرة بدولة عربية؟ ماذا يضيف لدولة الإمارات كونها حديث فضاء وبتتجداركها؟
شكرا يا ماما. يمكن الجزء الأول من السؤال بنحاوله على بروفيسور باسكال وبنترجم له السؤال، بس الجزء الثاني طبعا هذا المؤتمر يضيف كثير، لأن أول شيء يعتبر أكبر مؤتمر فضائي في العالم ومن أقدم المؤتمرات الفضائية، من أعرق المؤتمرات. فإن بعد 72 سنة مؤتمر مثل هذا يقام في مدينة دبي في دولة الإمارات العربية المتحدة يبين أول شيء ثقة الدول المشاركة في قطاع الفضاء في قدرة الإمارات العربية المتحدة من ناحيتين. من ناحية أول شيء قدرتها على أن تجيب مثل هذه المؤتمرات وأن المؤتمرات تقوم في الدولة، وأيضا النقطة الثانية أن يبين اليوم وين وصلت الإمارات في قطاع الفضاء. فاستوت من الدول الرئيسية اليوم في المنطقة من ناحية المشاريع الكبيرة والمشاريع الفضائية التي لها تأثير ليس فقط على في الدولة ولكن على المستوى العالمي.
Maybe you could summarize in English the question and the answer for our remote audience as well.
Sure. So just for everybody, the question had two parts. The first one for Pascale, which was how many people do they expect will be attending and from how many countries? The second part, which I answered in Arabic, was basically what this event means for the UAE. And I said that it's two parts. It's showcasing that this is one of the biggest space events, and we're very proud to be hosting such an event in the UAE and the first time in the Arab world. But also it showcases today that the UAE is becoming an important player in the space field. We have many different projects which don't only have a local impact, but they're starting to have a global impact. So this for us is the right time to host such an event and welcome the world.
Just to add, I can only do that in English. That we do expect between 3,000 and 4,000 participants, and generally from 70 countries. And registration has started, and we know that there have been a lot of wonderful abstracts have been selected by our committees, and so that's more or less an indication what we can say now. Christian knows something more detailed.
Thank you very much. No, that's about it. We have usually are expecting people from all over the world, more than 70, 80 countries usually represented, and the number of abstracts submitted, it was more than 4,000 abstracts, out of which 3,500 were selected, makes us believe that this will really be a big gathering. Thank you. Next question here from the room, please.
I'm Arnold Pinto from ArabSpaceNews.com. The IAC is being held in the Arab world for the first time since 1950. What were the major drawbacks that the IAF faced in having the event in the Arab world?
Pascale, maybe.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry.
Which were the major problems to have?
Okay, sorry, my mic did not work. Sorry. I do not think you meant that we have problems. Well, I don't think that we will have any problems because we are an international organization which combines 407 members from 71 countries. And we are an organization which are fostering international cooperation within the space sector. So apart from the security measures, which have been already explained by Salem Almarri very much in detail, we do not expect any kind of problems. We just expect a very fantastic, well-organized, a beautiful event in Dubai where we are all looking forward to.
I'm sorry, Professor Pascale, I think you misunderstood my question.
Okay.
My question was, since 1950, why has an IAC event not taken place in the Arab world? That's my main question.
Okay.
Thank you.
I will give that, since I'm only president since a year, I will give that to Christian.
Well, thank you. I'm pleased to answer this. You see, our federation, International Astronautical Federation, is a rapidly growing organization, but the growth in membership has only recently accelerated very strongly. Traditionally, and from the very beginning, there was only one member per country, and the number of members was very limited. Now, in the last 10 to 15 years, the number of members per country have been increased. So now also space agencies, space industry, and other space organizations of one and the same country can become a member. And in order to host an IAC, it needs to be a member organization that is taking the role of a host. Frankly speaking, we have not received really applications for members from Arabic countries before to get really awarded hosting of the IAC. But this is also in connection to the fact that only in the last years, Arabic countries, and specifically also the UAE, has become so active in space and has become a member of our federation. As it was said before, MBRSC became a member in 2012. And you see the competition for actually hosting the IAC in 2020 originally started already in 2016. So already 4 years after the MBRSC had become a member, they already felt to be ready to host such a conference. I hope this answers a bit your question. Thank you. We have another question here from the room.
Assalamu alaikum. Saleh from Arabian Aerospace Magazine. We look forward to having our supplement for the IAC Congress in October, inshallah. My question about any special guest dignitaries that will be, special guest dignitaries that will be attending the event. Any special theme in particular that you can tell us now? I know that it's in the process, but any special guest dignitaries, any special country, basically, thank you.
Well, we always do have the head of space agency gathering, and we are always, trying to have many heads of space agencies here. Obviously, we have also a lot of sponsors of the large companies, space industry, which always come, and we also expect them because they are also partly sponsoring the IAC. We have special panels on the emerging countries. So something which we are trying really to foster is to have more, all the new countries and emerging space countries, that they are actually really featured, that they are meeting here, that they are fostering, that they are interacting, you know, with a larger space agency in order to grow their potential. We have always, of course, also this very important young generation, which is coming, and there are many of them, yeah. We have a very large percentage of young people which are under 35, and this is very important, you know, for the future legacy of the space sector. And we have, I mentioned already some of the sessions. Obviously, we are looking at the main missions which are important, and those teams certainly will come also to present it and to discuss it. All the details we can not yet reveal because they are still in the making, but it will be certainly an exciting meeting because it is the first really big space meeting, you know, after this very challenging year, and everybody is really, I think, with a full heart here, really wants to come and gather and actually share.
I am particularly interested in two aspects, please. Any special program, STEM program, a space STEM program that you can announce now, or that you are working on, because this is very important for the youth, please, and across the region, especially STEM program for the youth, for the region in terms of space. And the second one, any sponsorships, any partnerships that your Congress has announced or can announce now? Sponsorship agreements or partnerships with any party, being private or public sector, locally or regionally. Any special sponsorship, partnership that you have signed for the upcoming Congress?
Yeah, okay.
Plus the STEM program for space.
I will answer you the first part of the question. We have always a lot of programs for the young professionals. We have even a conference before the IAC actually starts, the Space Generation Congress, which will be 2 or 3 days, where a lot of young people coming and interacting, and it will be held here in Dubai at the university. And we have a lot of programs for young people and also special sessions. And about the exact sponsors per today, I will probably give it to Christian now.
Yeah, maybe still coming back to one word to the people which we expect to join us at the IAC. Of course, we are now in the process of contacting all these high-level people from space agencies, but certainly we are also focusing on the so-called celebrities in space at the moment, like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos.
This is what I'm interested in. Do you have any name that we might see in Dubai?
Well, I can assure you that we are reaching out to all of them, be it now Elon Musk or be it Jeff Bezos or Richard Branson, because they are really people that are in the focus of a broad general public and the space community due to their great achievements, which they are showing us every day. I cannot tell you yet or confirm that any of these people are coming, but as you may know, we've had Elon Musk twice at our International Astronautical Congress, once in Guadalajara in Mexico, once in Australia. And in our last IAC in Washington in 2019, we were happy to welcome Jeff Bezos. So I'm sure that also the IAC in Dubai will be an interesting place for them to present their plans and their achievements. Concerning sponsors, of course, we are in discussion with all our big members, space agencies, also industry, and we are, as we speak, in the process of concluding sponsorship agreements with them. It is a bit premature now to mention one or the other, but I can assure you, if you follow on our website, you will see very soon the names of the first big sponsors that are supporting us. And the same is also true for the exhibitors. We will have really a big number of exhibitors. And as we speak, we together with MBRSC are concluding these agreements.
Thank you. Just for the gentleman, in terms of patronage, رعاية المؤتمر, it will be under His Highness صاحب السمو Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid. Is it confirmed? Can we confirm it?
Yes, thank you. Yes, it's confirmed. It's under the patronage of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid.
Thank you. Shukran.
Thank you very much. Next question comes from remote. We have Thorsten Griening from Spacewatch Global. Can you hear us? Can we have your question, please? Thorsten Griening.
I can hear you very well, Christian. I'm Thorsten Griening from Spacewatch.global, and thanks, Christian, for getting the floor. And I'm very happy to see the event will be in person. So my questions are potentially more for Salem. Where will the conference and exhibitions are taking place in Dubai, actually? And how you integrate with the Expo, and what special events can we expect? So any visits of the centers are planned or so, anything like that, what you can allude right now. Thank you, and good luck.
Thank you, Thorsten. Appreciate your question. Yes, we plan to host the IAC in the Dubai World Trade Center, which is one of the largest exhibition centers in the Middle East, and it's in the center, in a very central location in Dubai. Very good access. It has Dubai Metro access. It has also access to many hotels in the area. So we believe that's one of the ideal locations to host such a large-scale event. With the second part of your question was what we plan to do with Expo. Yes, we plan very much to link the IAC in many ways to Expo. There will be some space-related events that will be taking place at the Expo around the same time. And we are also looking at ways to give the participants that come to the IAC many nice opportunities to be able to go and visit the Expo site and participate in all of the different pavilions that are obviously going to be are taking place at the Expo 2020 site. The transportation as well from the Congress venue in Dubai at the World Trade Center is about a 30-minute metro ride all the way directly to the Expo site. So for all of the participants that are at the venue or living close by, it's a very short journey on the metro or by taxi, and they can really enjoy something quite unique at the Expo. We are in discussions with also the Expo team to trying to give benefits between what our Expo colleagues are doing for the Expo Space Week and link that also to what we are doing with the IAC. So I think once we finish these discussions, the participants that will be coming to the IAC will also have a lot of very good programs that they can also participate with in the Expo, which are all space themed. Thank you, Thorsten.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Almarri. Do we have another question from here, from the room, please? Yes.
Good afternoon. Joanna Moyano from Rocket Ship Media Lab. I'm glad that you mentioned the importance of the youth culture and future generations who will obviously be the ones that will be launching, no pun intended, the future of space knowledge and exploration. How important is is the IAF in particular and the IAC and concretely leveraging social media and new digital platforms in this new upcoming Congress versus or vis-a-vis the past, especially in light of how accelerated COVID-19 has made presence in a digital platform and digital conferences? Are there any specific activations or verticals that you're doing in this particular area, in this particular space that might be different than in other congresses in the past? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, I can answer. You want to? Well, you see, we are all, I think, globally in a very difficult situation since more than a year. We've seen this last year when we were forced to postpone the IAC here in Dubai by 1 year. And we took it up to host the IAC as a virtual event, the cyberspace edition last year, with great success. And people have taken it up very, very nicely. And that was also at that point in time the only opportunity we had. Now, as we see the end of the tunnel, the light at the end of the tunnel, we hear more and more from all our community that everybody is eager again to meet in person. And that is the reason why we, in discussion with MBRSC, have decided to hold this and host this IAC as a face-to-face in-person conference. So we do not foresee at that point in time any remote participation at this conference. Of course, we have also learned from the experience of last year what you can do, and we will certainly try to implement things. But the Congress itself will be a Congress that is really a Congress of personal meeting, personal attendance, and that's what it will be. Of course, and also in the past, we have used social media widely in order to promote the Congress, in order to give out the main messages which are delivered in the conference. And you see also this press conference is live streamed now on YouTube. We are using a system that is called Slido in order to allow also questions from remote to come in. But remote participation is still not foreseen for this IAC. Does that answer?
Yes, I was just mentioning it because obviously in the UAE, they're experts in the usage and leveraging of social media to connect the world to the region in particular. And I think now more than ever, it's always important to be able to reach out and communicate and connect. And I think the Arab to Mars mission in particular did that in a spectacular way. So I was just wondering how that marriage works with, you know, the AIC and UAE, both of them working together in conjunction to create this event that is very important for the world and for the region in particular.
You can be sure that there will be regular tweets and regular social media messages before the IAC, but specifically also during the IAC, in order to keep a global space community and general community informed on what is discussed here, what is decided here.
Thank you.
So do we have another question from the room here? Yes, there's another question there.
أنا سؤالي للأستاذ يوسف الشيباني. أستاذ يوسف، المؤتمر راح يكون فرصة لعقد تحالفات مع وكالات عالمية أكيد. إيش أبرز التحالفات المتوقع عقدها؟ وشو هذا الشيء ممكن يضيف لدولة الإمارات؟
شكرا لأختي يمام. أنا بجاوب على السؤال. طبعا هاي فرصة كبيرة لعقد تحالفات مختلفة وتوقيع عقود مختلفة. في الوقت الحالي طبعا ما في أي شيء تحدد إن هل بتكون في تحالفات معينة أو توقيع اتفاقيات معينة في الاي سي، ولكن نحن كمركز وأيضا في دولة الإمارات العربية المتحدة في العادة والدول الثانية توقع اتفاقيات في الاي سي ومذكرات تفاهم إلى آخره. فإن شاء الله نتوقع أن تكون في اتفاقيات مختلفة. Just to translate, she was asking me, are there any specific international agreements or contracts that we are planning as UAE to sign at the IAC? And I mentioned that usually countries, including the UAE, sign MOUs and agreements during the IAC, and we would expect some, but there's nothing specific that we can talk about right now.
Thank you very much. We have another question over there.
سؤال آخر. ما الذي تغير من موعد عقد المؤتمر العام الماضي إلى الآن؟ هل هناك فرصة أكبر في هذا العام؟ خصوصاً الإمارات مرت بتجارب مهمة من العام الماضي إلى اليوم. فنبغى نشوف الجانب المشرق من تأجيل المؤتمر إذا أمكن.
نعم، شكراً على سؤالك. طبعاً في شيء كبير تغير، إن الحمد لله مهمة الإمارات لاستكشاف المريخ وصلت بنجاح في شهر فبراير. فنحن طبعا في البداية كنا ناويين ان المؤتمر يكون في اكتوبر 2020. ففي اكتوبر 2020 المهمة هاي كانت بتكون في الدرب الى المريخ، ولكن بعد التأجيل لمدة سنة الحمد لله وصل المشروع بنجاح، وطلعت أولى الصور والنتائج العلمية الأولية من المشروع. فهذا دليل يعني اليوم أن أتوقع جانب مشرق وجانب إيجابي جدا للعالم، أن يوم يحضرون لدولة الإمارات العربية المتحدة بيقدرون يشوفون صور من أول مسبار عربي يصل إلى كوكب المريخ. Just to also translate quickly, the gentleman asked me, what has changed from last year to this year in terms of anything positive with the changing of the IAC date. And I mentioned that one major change for us at least is that we managed to successfully launch and then arrive for the first time for this region to around Mars. And we've also taken our first images and early scientific data, which has been released. And that's something very positive for us a year later in terms of being the host of the IAC this year, that we'll be able to showcase a lot of the scientific results and everything, all of the work that we've done regarding our Mars probe.
Thank you very much. We have another question here from the room, please. The
محمد
gentleman on
الحمدي
the
من
left.
قناة الشرق. أنا سؤالي هو هل من دول عربية أخرى مشاركة بإضافة أيضا لدولة الإمارات العربية المتحدة؟ وأيضا هل ممكن أيضا نشوف في دول عربية بالمستقبل القريب أيضا عم تستضيف مؤتمر الدولة للفضاء نسخة أخرى طبعا؟ شكرا.
نعم شكرا على سؤالك. نتوقع دول عربية كثيرة إن شاء الله تكون مشاركة، ونحن كدولة الإمارات العربية المتحدة استراتيجيتنا أيضا أن نزيد المشاركة ليس فقط من الدول بس أيضا من الطلبة والمشاركين مختلفين من الجامعات العربية أن يكونون جزء من المؤتمر هذا، وبنتكلم معهم مباشرة على أساس أن نزيد الحضور العربي في المؤتمر. وبخصوص السؤال الثاني أتوقع أفضل أحوله على أخواني فترجمه بحوله. He asked me two questions. The first is, do we expect many Arab countries to join, and how many people do we expect coming? So I said, you know, one of our strategic objectives is to increase participation from the Arab countries in terms of governments and space agencies, but also in terms of students and youth to be able to participate in such an event and meet the global space community. The second part of the question I think is better for yourselves is, do we think that Arab countries in the future will be bidding to host an IAC? Yeah, do you think that other Arab cities or countries will bid to host an IAC in the future?
Well, we are always very delighted when we get bids for conferences. It is just, I would say that in the next, we are always looking in advance of a few years, and those places are already booked. And we are deciding now in October on, for instance, the IAC in 2024. And thereafter, of course, there is a possibility that new countries and also Arab countries can make a bid. And there is a committee and there is a big discussion of what is the best venue. And generally, we have a lot of applications.
Maybe just to add for you also the immediate next years, as was mentioned already, are already decided. So next year, the IAC will be held in Paris, in France. And the year after, we will have the IAC in Baku, in Azerbaijan. And as was said already, for 2024, the competition is running, and we are very lucky to have 5 bidders for this IAC in 2024, which are Italy with Milan, Spain with Sevilla, Hungary with Budapest, Australia with Adelaide, and Brazil with Sao Paulo. So you see very strong interest from our community, very strong competition. And we, of course, as was said, are very much looking forward to our competition for 2025, which will be opened right after the IAC here in Dubai. And of course, we'll be welcome any bid and proposal also from other Arab countries. Okay, do we have more questions here from the room? Just see whether we have another question from remote. No, that is not the case at the moment. Was there a question? No. Okay. I take it that you're all satisfied with the answers you have received. No more questions. And that means that our press conference will come to an end. I would like to express my sincere thanks to all of you, to representatives of media and press that have joined us today here, and to all of those who have joined us from remote. I would like to thank very much our speakers today here, Professor Pascale Ehrenfreund, His Excellency Mr. Alshaibani and Mr. Salem Almarri, for their time and their information they've shared with us. And I can only say, please join us again in October in Dubai here for the 72nd IAC starting on the 25th of October. Registration is open. Please don't hesitate to register already now at www.iac2021.org. Thank you very much. This closes our press conference.